Namo tas Namo tas bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Honor to him, the blessed one, the worthy one, the fully enlightened one. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Hello everyone, welcome to our episode number 18 of live Q&A with Bhante Sumitta. And today we are also ready to discuss with you some Dhamma related questions. So please feel free to post your questions. Okay, so we have here with us Elisa, and Elisa already has done her homework. Very good, and I'm really happy that when you are ready with this, we are doing it in the process of our studying the Tipitaka Pali, Buddhism, Buddha Dhamma. So let's do it together. And it's so nice when you also come prepared, and last time we were discussing about some sutta and I asked you to read, and when you come prepared, it makes also me inspired and motivated. I feel very happy. Okay, so Alice, I have read there are two sets of precepts for lay people. One has right livelihood as number 8. Can you explain about these two? Are there certain traditions that follow one or the other? How does one decide which 8 to follow? I hope you talk about the Kakachupama Sutta, right? So last time we mentioned about this Kakachupama Sutta. This is Majjhima Nikaya 21. Let me share the link with you from Sutta Central. By the way, Sutta Central is really a helpful site for anyone to learn about a lot of translations of Buddhism. So if you say, talk about the 8 precepts, we do have 8 precepts here for lay people. And in the let me quickly go through this, the sutta, like how it happened when Molya Paguna was mixing too much with the two, together with the nuns, and then there were some accusations against him, and then the Buddha actually asked him to come in front of the Mahasangha, the assembly. Buddha asked him, is it true, Paguna, that you've been mixing overly close together with the nuns? So much so that if any monk criticize those monks in your presence, you get angry and upset. And if any monk criticizes you in those nuns' presence, they get angry and upset. Is that how much you are mixing overly closely together with the nuns? So that's how the sutta actually started off, and then it goes on how the Molya Paguna also answered affirmatively. When someone is summoned to the Buddha, especially in a situation like this. This is a case hearing, and nobody wants to say no, or nobody wants to um, speak the false speech, especially in front of the Buddha, because the Buddha can see through his mind. They know it, and he can read the telepathy, and he had the clairvoyance, he had the clairaudience. So very easy with the power of Dibba Chakku and Dibba Sota, and Parachitta Vijanana, the reading capability of others' mind to the perfection. The Buddha could read the mind of the other. So no one dares to tell any lies to the Buddha in front of him. And Molly Phaguna said, yes, Bhante. And then, as such, it's not appropriate for you to mix so closely with the nuns. So, if anyone criticizes those nuns in your presence, you should give up any desires or thoughts of attachment. So, what happens is excessive attachment. Both parties, when they excessively attached, then these situations, conflicts can happen. My mind will be unaffected. Can you say that? And I will speak no bad words. I will remain full of compassion with heart of loving kindness and no inner hate. That's how you should train, the Buddha said. Even if someone strikes those nuns with stones, rods, and swords in your presence, you should give up any desires or thoughts of attachment. So even if something happened, like you still don't want to, um, get into a clash physically, verbally, even mentally. This is how it happens with the loving kindness, heart of loving kindness, and no inner hate. That's how you should train. So Buddha was asking, leading him to some really powerful training of mind, the process of training mind. So my uh, mind will not be affected. My mind will be unaffected. I will speak no bad words. I will remain full of compassion with the heart of loving kindness and no inner hate. So, Bhaguna, even if someone strikes you with fists, stones, rods, and swords, you should give up any desire. So, if that happens to someone else or to yourself, you will speak. You will still stay calm and peaceful. That is the Buddha's advice. And then the Buddha gives here again about the master charioteer. Then the Buddha said to the monks, monks, I used to be satisfied with the monks. Once I addressed them, I ate only one meal per day. Doing so, I find that I'm healthy and well, light, strong, and living comfortably. You too should eat one meal per day. Doing so, you will find that you are healthy and well, light, strong, and living comfortably. I didn't have to keep on instructing those monks. I just had to prompt their mindfulness. So the Buddha here talks about the initial stage of the Buddha Sasana. During that time, especially the first 20 years or so in the Buddha Sasana, it was so pure. And all the monks who entered, all those people who entered the Buddha Sasana were really, really very earnest, very sincere, very honest, and diligent in practicing the Dhamma. And that is why the Buddha even didn't have to worry about, like, giving so many advices to them, do this and do this, and not to do this, not to do that. And Buddha didn't have, because they were just about to blossom. They were just buds about to blossom, about to be blossomed. So it was way easier for the Buddha to handle the initial stage of the Sangha order. And then later on it changed because of the monks, coming from so many backgrounds, and also with so many intentions, maybe ulterior motives even. And somehow the Buddha had to give some explanations. And then that is why Buddha gave many instructions to the monks later on. And so the sutta actually talks about a nice story about Vedehika and Kali. The story, once upon a time, monks, right here in the city of Savatthi, there was a housewife named Vedehika. She had this good reputation. The housewife Vedehika is sweet, patient, and calm. Now Vedehika had a maid named Kali, who was skilled, tireless, and well organized in her work. Now, Vedehika was a very nice housewife, and um, her housemaid was named Kali. So when she was so nice and so wonderful, Kali wanted to try how good she really, really was. My mistress has a good reputation as being sweet, patient, and calm, but does she actually have anger in her and just not show it? Is it just pretending? And so she was asking about that. And she wanted to actually test it. Does she have anger at all? And let me try this. So what she did actually, one day she woke up early, and she didn't wake up early. So she really didn't wake up early, and then um, um, Vedehika asked, Kali, you got up late today. And then she kept on doing it. You are getting late. And then what's up with you? She Vedehika asked. And then Kali said, nothing, ma'am. So nothing's up. You bad girl. But you get up late, angry and upset. She scolded. So she was angry, and she was angry with her. And then she started blaming Kali. And so it went on into such a level, the escalation of this anger, because she kept on getting late, and she kept on testifying Vedehika's patience. And then really, really, it was triggering her anger to such an extent that um, she was very angry and upset. She grabbed a rolling pin and hit Kali on the head, cracking it open. So the anger kept on, building up over the days and weeks. And then she was really angry. She became early verbal and then later physical. And then Kali, with blood pouring from her cracked skull, denounced her mistress to the neighbors. So then she was screaming. She said, "Look at this, everyone, and see how this lady Vedehika was pretending to be very nice and sweet and all, patient and kind. But look, she was beating me. Now my skull was cracked and I'm bleeding." Now the Buddha said, monks, then after some time, the housewife Vedehika got this bad reputation. The housewife Vedehika is fierce, mean, and not calm at all. See, at the beginning, she had a good reputation, and later on, she had a bad reputation. The Buddha said, in the same way, monks, a monk may be the sweetest of the sweet, the most patient of the patient, the calmest of the calm, so long as he is not told bad words by others. But it is when he is told bad words by others, that you will know whether he is really sweet, patient, and calm. Now, when you are put into practice, then only you can see how you are able to cope up with that situation. It could happen to any one of us, because when we are healthy mind, when we are normal, regular um, mind condition, then we can easily survive. But when we are put into practice, when we are put into the bitter test, then the hidden, what we call the hidden anger or hidden ego, or the latent tendency of our own karma or kilesa or defilements can easily pop up. And this is where we have to be careful. So the Buddha say, I don't say that a monk is obedient if he is obedient only for the sake of robes, arms, food, lodging, and medicines and supplies for the sick. What is that? Because when he doesn't get robes, arms, food, lodgings, and medicines and supplies for the sick, he is no longer patient. And when a monk is patient purely by honoring, respecting, revering, worshipping, and venerating the Dhamma, then I say that he is patient. So, monks, you should train yourself. We will be patient purely by honoring, respecting, revering, worshipping, and venerating the Dhamma. That is how you should train. So, it's actually a process of training. But having said that, at the beginning, we can actually be um, stronger within, at the initial level, and then we need to know how to apply this thing in the real world scenarios. So, especially for you lay people, you have to be extremely careful how to do these things, how to practice these things in your real time, real life. So, um, um, ways people might speak to us, our minds will remain unaffected. We will speak no bad words. We will remain full of compassion, with a heart of loving kindness and no inner hate. We will meditate, spreading a heart of loving kindness to that person. And with them on a basis, we will meditate, spreading a heart full of loving kindness to everyone in the world. Abundant, expansive, limitless, free of hate and ill will. That's how you should train um, your your mind, so the Buddha said. And so the sutta talks about painting in the sky, very nice allegories are there, actually beautiful metaphors. Monk, suppose a person was to come along with yellow paint, blue paint, and red paint and say, I shall draw pictures on the sky, making pictures appear there. What do you think, monk? Could that person draw pictures on the sky? No, Bhante. Why is that? Because the sky is formless and invisible. It's not easy to draw pictures there. That person will eventually get tired and frustrated. In the same way, monks, there are these 5 ways in which others might speak to you. And so that's like the painting in the sky. And then the burning a river. Suppose a person was to come along carrying a blazing grass torch and say, I shall burn and heat up the river Ganges with this blazing grass torch. What do you think, monks? Could that person burn and heat up the river Ganges with a blazing grass torch? No, Bhante. So, and then the another simile is given here, like cat skin bag. Suppose there was a cat skin bag that was rubbed, well rubbed, and very well rubbed, soft, silky, rod of rustling and crackling. Then a person comes alone, carrying a stick or a stone, and says, "I shall make this soft cat skin bag rustle and crackle with this stick or stone." What do you think? Could that person make that soft skin bag rustle and crackle with that stick or stone? No. So simile of the soul is the actual title of the sutta here. Simile of the sutta, kakacha upama. So kakacha means so. Upama is the simile. And now the Buddha gives this, comes to the real sutta here. Even if robbers with a sharp saw were to cut your body into pieces, anyone who had an angry thought because of that would not be following my instructions. If that happens, you should train like this. Our minds will remain unaffected. We will speak no bad words. We will remain full of compassion with a heart of loving kindness and no inner hate. We will meditate, spreading a heart of loving kindness in that person. And with that, with them as a basis, we will meditate, spreading a heart full of loving kindness to everyone in the world, abundant, expansive, limitless, free of hate and ill will. That's how you should train. See the power of the loving kindness, the metta, boundless love, immeasurable loving kindness, and unconditional loving kindness. When it comes to this metta or immeasurable, unconditional loving kindness, you really have to train yourself to practice loving kindness to the person, even the person who is really physically harming you. We can't even get angry with that person. If you frequently reflect on this advice, the simile of the soul, do you say any bad word, large or small, that you could not put up with? Then the monks say, "No, Bhante." So, monks, you should frequently reflect on this advice, the simile of the soul. This will be for your lasting peace and happiness. That's what the Buddha said. And the monks were very happy. I think that was about the Kakachupama Sutta, so I probably did not attend to Alisa's question directly there. Yeah, so about the other uh, uh, question about the 8 precepts. Alisa, would you like to say what is the sutta that you were following here? Okay, normally it is the okay, over here. In the story with Kali, is she at fault for testing her employer? That's actually a tricky thing because she was kind of um, arousing her anger. If it depends on someone's intention, if you really try to arouse the anger of someone or try to arouse the defilement of someone, it might cause some trouble for yourself as well, because if you have that intention. And this is again, kali Kali actually had that intention to a certain extent. And then this her master, that lady, Videhika, had to also suffer with the reputation gone down. So it could be both tricky, and also it could create a bad karma for someone else too, to yourself too. So again, chetanaham bhikave kammang vadami, cheta yitva kammang karoti kayena vachaya manasa, the intention that matters. So if you put the intention in front, with that intention in front, you say something, you do something, and you think of something, then the karma will have its own effect. So I think that is related to this sutta. So I wanted to use that uh, question before. Yeah. Okay. So Jojo Vedehika reminds me of some people on Facebook. They project sweetness online, but yell and scream when the public cannot see them. Yeah, it could happen. Yeah, I know this could happen. A lot of people, I think, in the world, they have two roles: one public role and then private role. It is the arahant person, the enlightened person, who will not do anything wrong, even in secret. So the Buddha is someone like that. The enlightened beings are someone's like that. Until then, we all have certain rules. I remember the um, great English dramatist Shakespeare said, seven seven acts we do have. So we do have seven roles in different occasions. Like at home, maybe you are a school kid, and when you go to school, you are a student. Where at home you are a child, and then you might be a soldier, you might be someone. We do have different roles to play. At home you are parent. When you go to office, you are an employer or employee. And then when you go to a shopping mall, you are a customer. And you see how the roles we change over different circumstances. It could happen to any of us. So we should try to narrow this gap. Actually, the idea is, although it is true that people might say very sweet things in Facebook and let's say in social media in general, and then when it comes to the personal level, it might not be the same. And now when you take this into consideration, you might see like there are some people even getting so rough and tough even in social media. Can you see like people um, publicly disrespect many people, and they scream, they yell, and they use all the harsh words even publicly. So I think compared to that, this is still better, right? At least to a certain extent, you are better than that. So try, your mistake, it is wrong, and then you have to make some effort. You have to um, do something to work on this, and that way you hopefully can do it better. And next time, at home also, you can be nicer. I actually always see sometimes when people talk to other people, like the neighbors, with the friends, you are very, very nice. And when it comes to your own loved ones, you are not so nice. Have you noticed some people like that? Maybe even you have that problem. And why? Because you are so much attached to, or maybe so dear to those people, and then you might scream at them, you might yell at them, and you don't see something positive in your loved ones. Maybe you need to think of it. You need to narrow that gap. You can think seriously, evaluate yourself, analyze your own critically analyze yourself. Am I um, getting harsh to my own loved ones, if then there is some problem. So I think it's a really, really a very sensitive issue. I have seen many people. They are so nice to their friends. They are so nice to their neighbors. They are so nice to their community. But when you come back home, you are not so nice to your parents, or you're not so nice to your children. You are not so nice to your own siblings. Do you do that? You are not so nice to your own loved ones. You don't appreciate them. You don't see something good in them. If that happens, then you need to really critically accept it. Oh, I know. I'm humble. I know I have this problem. So you keep thinking, I am going to reduce this. I am going to narrow this gap. My public image and my personal level, my demeanor with my own family members. Can I narrow the gap? Can I be such a nice person to my husband, wife, my children, my siblings, my family members, my friends and relatives? If you can see that, you can actually improve it. You will see it is improving in you. It's how you see it and how you work on this. It is really hard, but I could say um, it's very, very important. I think Dhamma into practice. We know the Dhamma, and then sometimes we don't even know that I'm not practicing still. We know that it is wrong, but unconsciously we are not practicing it. Somewhere, somehow, we have to open up. We have to come out of this darkness. Yes, this is my mistake. This is my problem. And I really appreciate Jojo's question. This question is really a very pressing problem that I find. I've met many people with this weakness. Yeah, we need to work on that. Okay, let me go to the other question. Yakuza. Moon, but in our lives, how can we improve our dana, sila, and bhavana to prepare to face the death and also save good karma for the nibbana? Yeah, I think this again is a situation where you have to work on your own dana, sila, bhavana, and your own level of practice. You need to know your own practice. Sometimes, like when the other people practice dana, generosity, you can observe how they do it. Maybe your friends are practicing generosity. You can see how they do it. You can see how passionate they become, how diligent they become, how careful, how mindful, and how kind hearted they become. And when you practice dana, you have to purify your heart, purify your mind, not allowing any anger, hatred, ill will, and also practicing generosity should also be coupled with, away from ignorance. You know that when you practice this, it will generate really wholesome karma, and this karma will be helpful to many when you practice dana. So some people, um, you must have seen some people, they want to practice dana. They sometimes actually donate so much money, for example, and then they expect something in return. Let's say you don't offer some dana to a monk, and then you expect a, a really good review in front of the public. So this is like you are expecting something in return So in your mind, you have that little bit of, dirt in that beautiful, wholesome act of generosity. And there are some people who don't want even to name their name. Um, you know, they just don't. They just want to practice it. And sometimes lots of generosity can happen, and then they don't even want to declare it in public. I remember some people say, please don't mention it. And sometimes I think sometimes it is okay to, publicly declare so that other people can also, see that, and they can also follow the wonderful example. Some people can do it. And I think it makes sense. But all depends on the intention, why you do this. You really want to do it because you want to encourage others, motivate others, inspire others. And then also the other person don't want to build that person's own ego. So that's not the idea here. This is where we have to make our mind, yeah, I'm going to do it, I'm going to practice it, and I'm not expecting anything, just like that. So if you can think of that way, then your practice will be a great one. Same thing with the Sila. You practice Sila. Sometimes people come to the temple to practice Sila, and then you don't want to just pretend it. You just do it out of really, good intention that I really want to practice. Sometimes people come to the temple and maybe they feel tired of living at home, and so they come and spread some gossip, or maybe they really want to chit chat with the other friends. I think when you come to the temple, you already need to dedicate your time and energy. You need to be diligent. You need to know why you go to the temple to practice sila, 8 precepts, for example. And full moon days are dedicated for this practice. And when you go there, you need to be really mindful and diligent, ardent. Ardent means, in some Satipatthana Sutta, it is said, Atapi. Atapi means you need to burn out the defilement. You need to have that intention with you. I'm going to practice. I'm going to be really sincere and honest. I don't want to do it for the sake of it. I'm doing it for my own purification. Sila Visuddhi. Remember, Sila Visuddhi is a really one of the 7 purifications. So Sila is something you can see some of the other people how they do it. And if you see something positive in such persons, you can practice it. You can also cultivate within you. Maybe when you see other people, oh, they are not doing it right, and then you don't worry about that. You know it is not right, then you do it the right way. That's how we need to do. Bhavana meditation is the same. You observe how the others do, and you need to have that association with wonderful, good Kalyana Mitra friends. You need to have that with you, and then you can actually observe how they do it. You also can do it, and you don't do it for the sake of it. Sometimes people meditate, with closed eyes and sitting still, but then the mind is roaming all the time, and then it doesn't make so much sense. But still, I would say you still continue to do that. It is something is better than nothing, and you keep doing it. And then when you open your mind, you open your eyes, you can be exposed to the real time world, and there we need to apply that practice. We need to apply that theory into practice. So while closed eyes, when you practice meditation, you really improve your theory. You learn your theory, you explore, investigate. And when you open your eyes, you go into the public, you encounter with other people, then you need to really apply the theory into practice. So try and see how the others do. And sometimes you might see some monks and nuns or the other lay devotees how they practice, and you might see some good signs in them. They are rock solid, and they are very compassionate, very generous, very nice, very sweet. When they speaks few words, you feel so so much healing within you. You see, there are certain people like that. So you try to be like that. If there is those qualities are not within you, you try to cultivate them within you. And so, like the fourfold efforts, samma vayama, this is how you have to improve your qualities within your life. So the other side of this question, prepare to face the death, and also save karma, good karma for nibbana. I think if you keep doing it, you will definitely come inch closer to the nibbana. And death is happening all the time, actually. It can be like moment to moment death. It can be like you need to think that is just a moment. Death is just another moment of so many moments we have, just like the breath we have. How many breaths we take every single day? And any of those breaths can be your final breath. And you need to know that. And that way you also can think, okay, I'm going to, practice this. It's not to be negative again. When you think of the death, when you contemplate on death, the fear factor, if that doesn't come to you, you can see you are improving. I know fear factor will come to um, almost all of us, all the mundane people, the putujana people. But then again, if you keep trying it, if you keep practicing it, if you keep contemplating on that, you can reduce the fear factor. So one day, hopefully, you will be fine. You will be able to even face the death without any fear. You will be able to maintain your inner peace, and you will be able to concentrate your own breath even at the time of death. So practice anapanasati, practice loving kindness. When you are sick, practice loving kindness. Send loving kindness to other people who are sick. And also send loving kindness to the people who are not sick. When you are sick, send loving kindness to people who are not sick. You will see the power of your own compassion, loving kindness is really, really improving. And see people when they die. You see them. You go to funerals. When you attend the funerals, think of it. This can happen to me as well one day or the other. Sometimes we see very young, pretty young women or very handsome men. They die, they lose their life, they stop living. And so the other people cry for so much to live, and they still, went away. Sometimes, like such cute little babies, they die, and you see them. It can happen to you and I anytime. And so we don't want to be negative again. It doesn't matter. You die even young or old. It doesn't really matter. It matters if you know how to cope up with that, and if you make your life more rewarding and not repenting on what you have done. and you are trying to improve your life, improve the quality of your life. You see that, you do it, you practice it, and then you will not fear death. You will feel comfortable and confident even facing the death. Okay, so that's how I think you can go close to the Nibbana. Okay, right. Yes, I'll revise the precept question for another time. Okay. Yeah, I think if you have the question, like I would like to explain again. Jojo, giving with an expectation of something in return is not dana. It's a business transaction. In a way, yes. Yes. So dana is to give up. Dana is to let go. But there are a lot of donors today. There are a lot of people who practice dana. They expect something in return. And I know there are some people who want their name to be marked, highlighted, or they want their name to be announced in the public. Uh, you are right. It's not dana. It's not giving away. It's not letting go. But, it's holding. Um, there are some people like that. Yeah. But when you see them, you need to know I should not do it. Maybe I should not practice like that. I should not expect that thing. I think that way our own dana practice can become better. I think these people also should be there. And then you learn a lesson and you don't have to be angry with them. So remember, if you get angry, then you are also doing a bad karma. So you need to know, oh wow, look at this. This is also part of the practice, like how I not be disturbed when I see such people. And somehow we need to encourage people, not to showcase these things in public in particular, because you are expecting something in return. um, I remember, like even in Christianity, right? You said it is said like when the right hand is giving something, the left hand should not know it. Yeah, it is true. Even in Buddhism, we talk about that. Giving up is giving up. Sometimes I know people say, "Oh, my grandfather built this temple." It is like the this grandson or granddaughter thinks that I am the owner of the temple. And so it's very good that your grandfather did that. There's so much good. Definitely it's good. But it doesn't mean that you can control over the temple matters. And you can, of course, do even better than take the example. Your grandfather was doing his own good karma out of his own good intention. Now it is time for you to practice too. And so like boasting of these things will never help anyone. Remember again the intention, the the chetana. That is the volition. That is the most important thing. Yeah. Sometimes people say, I've given so many dana, I given this thing, I given that thing. And sometimes it is good, I would say. Like in the past, there was a tradition like they used to write a book called Punya Potaka, like in Sinhala we call Pim Pota. So you can write down your own good, um, generous activities. That's nice. I mean, you can see them from time to time. You don't want to actually feel like uh, generate any unwholesome karma, but you can see, like you can be, when you contemplate on these things, you feel happy. Especially, it is said at the end of their life, these things are recited to them. The people who are dying, then they hear this and they feel happy. I think that's a different thing, though. Yeah, eventually, people who practice generosity will get such an unprecedented, wholesome, very pure energy within them by contemplating on the power of generosity and dana. So, yeah. Jay Bowen, can you talk about the symbolism of the lotus, since it's a popular symbol of Buddhism? Well, yes, and I think I could talk about the within the limitations of Theravada tradition. In Theravada Buddhism, we also have the flower as a really it is explained in many different circumstances. Okay, in one case, when you offer a flower to the Buddha, we say Puje mi buddhang kusumena nena punyena ete nachahotu mokkang puppang milayati yatha idang me kayo tathayati vinasa bhavang. Now here, when you offer flower to the Buddha, it's a very powerful vipassana meditation. I am offering this flower to the Buddha. Punyena etena labhami mukkang. Like, by the power of this merit, may I be able to attain the Nibbana. That is the intention. So I will be encouraged, I will be led to the Nibbana. And then puppang minayati yathaidame. Just as this flower decays, kayo tathayate vinasabhayang bhavang, so is my body. So when the flower decays, my body also will decay. So that is one example of the flower. And then in Dhammapada, there are many actually. Yata sankhara dhanasming ujjitasming mahapate padumang tattha jayeta suchi gandang manoramang evan sankhara bhutesu andha bhute putujjane atirochati panyaya samma sambuddhasa. The Buddha said, the lotus starts from the mud, and then it is also explained in other suttas too. Sometimes the bud, they start from the mud, and some come out of the mud and die on the spot, and they don't come out of the water, and some grow, and in the middle of the water some lotuses can die, and some lotus can come all the way up the water, and they can blossom, fully bloom, and they will radiate the powerful this fragrance to the world. And that is like the Arahanta person, a person who has come out of this samsara, completely eradicated all forms of defilements, and then full bloom, fully blossomed, just as an Arahanta person. And some people try and they can really make it. And some people don't even try, and they will just, in the lifetime, they won't do anything good. They won't accomplish anything spiritually powerful. And some people on the way, they will also try, and on the way they will come halfway. So different accomplishments. So this is one thing. And so those the people, we have like such fertile soil, mud, we are all there, and now it is up to us, you and I. We have to make it to the top of the water, right to the surface of the water. That way we can make our life more meaningful. And uh, this Paduma or lotus also is compared to the Nibbana sometimes. And it is very pure, it's fragrant, and it's colorful, different base. And then most of the time it is explained like that. I remember in one story where Venerable Sariputta had a disciple, and he ordained one young person, and then this person was trained by Venerable Sariputta, and he thought he could make him realize the Dhamma, and eventually he could become Arahant. He tried to teach him, but somehow it didn't work. And then eventually Venerable Sariputta decided to meet the Buddha. And then he took this young monk to the Buddha. And Buddha said, okay, bring him on an evening. One particular time was given for him to come to the temple with the monk. And then Venerable Sariputta came to meet the Buddha. And that time the Buddha, when he does something, he can really go deep into the mindset of the other person. It is only the Buddha who could do it 100%. He could go deep into his mind and also connect to his all the previous lifestyles, and behaviors, and his temperaments, his capacities. There is no one as much as the Buddha knows. There is no one to match the Buddha's competence in that level. So it is all like omnipotent Buddha, Sabbanyu. And so the Buddha noticed that this young monk a long time ago was actually practicing some jhanas and kasinas. In fact, the color kasina, Vanna kasina we call. So he was practicing on color kasina. And then the Buddha noticed that if I could help him, he could definitely do something better. And what the Buddha asked the young monk, to make a heap of sand, and on top of it, the Buddha asked the monk to keep one lotus flower, blue color, and then asked him to look at that, asked him to practice on that. The monk was looking at them, at the flower, and he was gazing at it, and he was practicing, continued to practice, and he was very fascinated by that, because it was already connected to his own past karma, his own past habit of practicing jhana by working on the color. And eventually he was able to decode the mystery, and he was able to attain the enlightenment. So yeah, these are some of the examples that come to me. In other forms of Buddhism too, like Mahayana Buddhism, they also have this lotus, really powerful way to explain the purity. So always the lotus is compared to the Nibbana, something very pure. And we can also see how in different circumstances this thing is explained differently. Okay, I hope it was helpful. There could be many other things also, but yes. All right, there's another question from Tan Victoria. Bhante, how can we apply Vipassana in our daily lives, in our daily activities? Yeah, so I think Vipassana, Passati is to see. When we have the we call it Upasagga. So this preceding little letter that gives so much difference to the scene. Something particular, seeing something special. So we need to see something special. Usually when we open our eyes, we see things, right? And now when we see this is different scene, different sight. So we look into ourselves. Most of the time we look outside when we open our eyes. Mostly in Vipassana, we can see actually. We can look at outside. We can see things, yes. But then you also have to turn towards yourself. Look into yourself. And then you compare it. For example, when somebody dies, you look into yourself. I am also dying. I'm also going to die one day. And you see things outside. You can connect it to yourself. Like this anicca, dukkha, anatta. These three things actually, three characteristics are really important when it comes to Vipassana. Like we all think, we all have a lot of ego within us and lot of ignorance within us and lot of craving within us. So we need to think of this anicca, dukkha, anatta. Everything is subject to change. All conditioned things are subject to change. And then you need to see when something is changing, its form, that means it is suffering. Yadanichang tang dukkham. Something is changing, something is transforming. Many of us really don't like it. We don't like the change, especially like when you are young. You continue to look at you, and then you see every day in the mirror, you see you are changing, wrinkles coming up and gray hair coming up, all these things, right? So yeah, you see that, and don't try to hide it. Actually, just see it, and it is there. It reminds me something. It reminds me that everything is subject to change. I would say sometimes you can, maybe if you go to a party or if you want to have social, some presentation or gathering or something, you should look nice. It's fine. But then you also need to know that, yeah, it's changing. I'm changing. Inside me is different now. Not like those young days. I'm not so thriving like before. I'm not so stronger like before. With that understanding, with that realization, we need to live. So in day-to-day life, when you get angry, you need to know, I should not get angry because um, we are not permanent. And I should not get angry with others because my life also is not permanent. I'm not going to live forever. And that means, why should I be angry with someone? Because my life is also is so short. During this lifetime, I should be happy with everyone. I should be compassionate with everyone. I don't want to have enemies, especially. I don't want to marginalize people. I don't want to label people. I don't want to judge people. This thing can happen to many of us. And so you think, my life is not permanent. I'm not going to live forever. Why should I have enemies? Why should I hurt other people? I should be happy with everyone around. I should be happy. And that way your life can become very wholesome, very positive. Everyone will love you, and you will be so happy that you can, live a very positive life. Hopefully this will also be helpful. And sometimes, like you get sick, You think again, yeah, sickness is part of my life. It's an inseparable part of my life. Everyone gets sick. So do I. So I have no capacity to, completely um, escape this sickness. So when you have sickness, you see that, you accept it, and make sure your inner peace is not distracted. You be good. As I mentioned before, when you are sick, practice loving kindness. Send loving kindness to the other sick people, and also send loving kindness to the healthy people. When you see them, practice mudita. Oh wow, I am so sick today, but look at those people. They are so healthy and so strong. I am so happy for them. Think of it and keep doing it, and you will be so happy too. This is a powerful way to practically apply these things in our day-to-day life. Yeah, practicing vipassana in day-to-day life, if you think, these are the simple ways, practical ways for us to apply the theory into real-time practice. You see people get sick, and you will get sick. Sometimes you might lose something, a precious thing you might lose, maybe a pet. When you lose them, yeah, it's part of it. You see, you can really keep worrying about that. You can really do it. It is the part of the world. And I've seen some people, like, they completely collapse when those misfortunes happen to you. So make sure it is very much part of our life, part of this samsara. As long as we are living in this samsara, these things can happen to you and I. We really can completely get rid of all these sufferings and misfortunes and miseries in our life. In order to do that, you you have to come out of this samsara. Remember the meaning of the bhikkhu, the monk. One of the definitions is given like sansare bhayang ikkati iti bhikkhu. Bhikkhu means the one who sees the fear in the samsara. Remember, Prince Siddhartha, he saw the four signs: the old man, the sick man, and the dead body, and eventually the ascetic. So he knows it's an integral part of our life, inseparable part of our life in this samsara. We have to go through these ups and downs, the 8 vicissitudes: labha, alabha, ayasa, yasa, ninda, pasansa, sukha, dukkha. So gain and loss, name and fame. You see that suffering and comfort and happiness, all these things can be there with us. Sometimes we are very much up, and sometimes very much down. These things can happen to us anytime. So make sure that your inner peace, you are strengthening, consolidating your own inner peace, so that you can become powerful practitioner of equanimity. Like the Arahanta person, he's called a Thadi, like unshaken mind he or she has when he or she is encountered with so many ups and downs in life. Okay, I hope it helps. All right. Okay, Julie asks a question: wherever your teachings along with the examples of positivity that show with us is so powerful. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you, Julie, and thank you also for um, following and joining us. And I hope these things will be really helpful. And yeah, Dhanushka Pushpa Kumar Besinga. Abbahan Seta Niduk Nirogi Dirgaya Salabewa. Thank you so much. And Hari Naidu Jai Bhim Namo Buddhaya Bahujana Hitaya Bahujana Sukhaya. I hope the other people know Bahujana Hitaya Bahujana Sukhaya means for the well-being and happiness of the many. So our life is, we came here for maybe some purpose, with some purpose. So we have to be like a tree. Paropakaraya phalanti vruksha. There is a beautiful Sanskrit stanza. The trees give fruits, not for the tree, but for the others. And then paropakaraya vahanti nadya. The rivers flow. They just flow all the way around the country, ups and downs, bends and bends, and it gives water. It's not for the river itself, but for the benefit of the others. We have to be like that. Paropakaraya duhanti gavah. The cows give milk for the benefit of the other. So we are all benefited with that. Paropakarartham midang sharirang. This body also is for the benefit of the others. We have to be of some use to other people. We have to help other people who are in need of our help. So that is selfless service, selfless practice, compassion, loving kindness should be our foremost priority as humans in particular. Then we can make our life more meaningful. We can make others happier, make others stronger, give some healing to others, even with your wonderful kind words. Even you can smile and give someone some hope when you smile. And just some gestures even can make other people happier. So try to make your life more meaningful, more compassionate, and more useful. And as a human being, we of course can make our life more meaningful in many different ways, just like that. Even a little kid, even if you are a poor man, it doesn't really matter. I saw a social media post video, and one guy, he was doing a social experience actually. He was asking for a dollar from many people. He says, I need a dollar. And a lot of people refuse. And when he actually approaches a homeless person, can you help me with a dollar? And this homeless person is giving him a dollar. And then he's asking why? And you don't have so much money. You are still offering me a dollar. And then the homeless person says, I have gone through this difficulty, so I know how important it is to you. So he gives that. Actually, this was an experiment, and he was so happy, and he gives him so much money. So he was just experimenting people. So when we practice these things, I remember like in Buddhism also it is said, sometimes the devas come to us, in disguise as homeless people. When you see a homeless people, maybe a deva or a celestial being is testing you, your generosity, your kindness, your compassion. So next time when you see a homeless person, don't judge, don't label him or her. Do whatever you can to bring some smile to that person, to give some hope to that person, even little bit kind gesture. If you don't have money, it's okay, but you can be kind to that person, be nice to that person, even if he or she is a drug addict, a very unfortunate or very violent person. It doesn't really matter. It is time for you to practice your own loving kindness, compassion, and generosity. Yeah, that way you really can make a difference in the world, especially if you practice Buddhism. These are the things that we need to really think of. Okay. All right. Let me see. Kim Gordon, hello from Maine. Hello. And then we have Alisa here from Florida, I know. Samara Man Roshan and says Teruvan Saranai means triple gem bless you. Thank you. Sudharma Hettiarachi and Priyangi Vijayaratna. And also I see Chung Yuan and also Jojo here and Yakusa Moon and Nilesh Medkar, Jayanta Fernando from New Jersey. Hello, how are you? Nice to see you all. And then Reverend Dhammausa Talamehra. Okay, very nice to see you, Venerable. And Jay Borden. And then Tushari Indi, Tan Victoria, Yudi Ortega, also from New Jersey, and Jay Borden, and Harry Naidu, and Dhanuska Pushpakumara, Julie, and Vijit Thero. Yeah, thank you everyone. A lot of people joined today. Thank you so much, everyone. And we have Kolita Hemi also from Sri Lanka. Very nice. Okay. Charlotte Buddhist Vihara. Oh, Aya Sudama. How are you? Okay. Very nice. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of messages now. Yeah, I just wanted to actually be grateful and thankful to all the people who join us today, and let's keep learning from each other. Let's practice the Dhamma in our real time application. We have to apply this thing in our real time. Whenever there are situations, we need to practice these things. That way our life can become much more meaningful. So with that, I would like to conclude today's session, and hopefully, let me see, today is 2027. So next week, hopefully, I don't know if I can attend, because I might be traveling. So yes, 28th I will be traveling, so I won't be able to do it for some time. And yeah, hope to see you again sometime, and we'll stay in touch. And yeah, and I wish you all the very best of luck, long life and good health. May the Dhamma be the torch to guide you, and may you all be well, happy, healthy, with the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem. Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitata, sukhi digha yuko bhava. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.